Epilepsy therapeutics and diagnostics, market landscape, competitive intelligence, and asset valuation. Epilepsy affects approximately 50 million people worldwide, with nearly 60,000 living in the US and around 57,000 in Europe. Globally, the epilepsy drugs market is currently valued at approximately $11.13 billion and is projected to reach $15.48 billion by 2030, growing at a compound annual growth rate CAGR of 5.7%. Key drivers include advances in understanding epilepsy pathophysiology, improved diagnostic capabilities, and the introduction of innovative targeted therapies. Within this market, diagnostic technologies are increasingly contributing to earlier detection, disease monitoring, and precision treatment planning. The epilepsy diagnostics market is expected to exceed $2.7 billion by 2035. This growth is fueled by continuous technological advancement and robust clinical demand. This report provides a snapshot of the current state of the epilepsy, therapeutics, and diagnostics markets, highlighting leading products, competitive insights, and key market trends and forecasts. We've analyzed the market using our proprietary technology push and market pull dynamics framework, which helps us identify the key drivers and barriers to innovation within the industry. Technology push, next-generation therapeutics. Companies are advancing new molecular entities and targeted treatment strategies for genetic and drug-resistant epilepsy syndromes such as 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟𝗏 and 𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Advanced diagnostics. There are breakthroughs in AI-enhanced electroencephalogram analysis, neuroimaging techniques, high-resolution MRI, positron emission tomography PET, and the identification of genetic biomarkers for epilepsy. Digital health integration, the use of wearable seizure detection systems, and real-time data analytics for patient management is becoming increasingly prevalent. Market pull. There are unmet clinical needs, such as high rates of drug-resistant epilepsy and limited treatment options for pediatric populations. Regulatory incentives. The FDA and EMA offer various schemes such as orphan drug designations, breakthrough therapy designations, and fast-track pathways to expedite the development of drugs for rare disorders. Patient demand. Patients are seeking non-invasive, personalized, and disease-modifying therapeutic and diagnostic solutions. We have identified several leading innovators in the space and conducted a detailed product analysis for each company. UCB Pharma, 𝗘𝗏𝗚𝗏 lacosamide. 𝗘𝗏𝗚 is an add-on therapy for partial-onset seizures approved by the FDA and EMA. Despite the core patents expiring in most markets, 𝗘𝗏𝗚 remains a significant product due to its favorable safety profile and effectiveness in adult patients with epilepsy. In 2024, 𝗘𝗏𝗚 generated approximately $1.5 billion in global sales. However, these sales are expected to decline gradually to $1.2 billion by 2030 due to generic erosion. The net present value NPV of this asset is estimated at around $6 billion based on life cycle revenues. Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Epidiolex cannabidiol. Epidiolex is the first FDA and EMA-approved plant-derived cannabidiol-based treatment for epilepsy syndromes including Lennox-Gastaut, Dravet syndrome, and tuberous sclerosis complex. With orphan drug exclusivity valid through 2025, Epidiolex had global sales of around $600 million in 2024 and is projected to surpass $1 billion by 2030. The asset's valuation is estimated at $4 billion. Marinus Pharmaceuticals, 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 ganaxolone. 𝗘𝗣𝗏 is a neuroactive steroid therapy approved for CDKL5 deficiency disorder, a rare and severe form of genetic epilepsy. With FDA and EMA approvals and regulatory exclusivity through 2029, 𝗘𝗣𝗏 is positioned as a first-in-class therapy. 2024 sales are estimated at $100 million, with strong growth expected over the next 5 years, potentially reaching $500 million by 2030. The asset is valued at approximately $2 billion. Biohaven Pharmaceuticals, 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟𝗘𝗣𝗦𝗬. 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟 is an investigational therapy currently in phase 2 development for focal epilepsy. Preliminary studies show promise and anticipated clinical readouts between 2025 and 2026. If successful, 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟𝗘𝗣𝗦𝗬 could achieve peak sales of $800 million by 2030. The NPV is estimated at $3 billion based on potential market entry and clinical differentiation. 𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗞𝗘𝗧 via Longboard Pharmaceuticals, 𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗡𝗧. 𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗡𝗧 is under development for rare and severe epilepsy syndromes, including Dravet and Lennox-Gastaut. It has received breakthrough therapy designation from the FDA, following 𝗘𝗣𝗥's acquisition of Longboard Pharmaceuticals for $2.6 billion. The asset is now positioned for accelerated development. Peak sales are projected between $1.5 billion and $2 billion, with a valuation estimated at $7 billion based on current clinical performance and market positioning. The diagnostics market is evolving rapidly with innovations in 3 key domains: wearable monitoring devices. Technologies such as wrist-worn and implantable systems enhance real-time monitoring and remote patient care. AI-based EEG interpretation. AI algorithms increasingly identify subtle EEG changes indicative of seizure activity, even in complex or rare cases. Advanced imaging modalities, functional MRI, PET, and diffusion tensor imaging provide clinicians with more precise tools for localizing seizure foci and planning surgical interventions. Over the next 5 years, we project the following economic performance for key assets. UCB Pharma, Vimpat, 2020 sales of $1.5 billion. Expected to decline to $1.2 billion by 2030. Estimated asset value, $6 billion. Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Epidiolex, 2020 sales of $600 million. Projected to reach $1 billion by 2030. Estimated asset value for $1 billion. Marinus Pharmaceuticals, Ztalmy, 2020 sales of $100 million. Projected to reach $500 million by 2030. Estimated asset value $2 billion. Biohaven Pharmaceuticals, 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗟𝗘𝗣𝗦𝗬, no current sales. Projected to reach $800 million by 2030 if approved. Estimated asset value $3 billion. 𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗞𝗘𝗧, no current sales. Projected peak sales between $1.50 and $2 billion. Estimated asset value $7 billion. Epilepsy therapeutics and diagnostics are poised for significant advancements driven by evolving technologies, unmet clinical needs, and a favorable regulatory environment. Companies that prioritize lifecycle management strategies, pipeline diversification, digital integration, global market expansion, and data-driven care models will be well-positioned to capture the evolving epilepsy market. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more updates.